What's up, BST? We're going to take a look at the swing today. The swing is one of my favorite movements. I can't stress that enough. It is pure therapy for the body when done correctly. So obviously there's going to be a lot of technical issues, and today we're going to be pretty generic with the explanation. I want to cover what it is, what it isn't, and I will come out with many, many more videos. So we can call this part one of the swing. So I'm going to roll a clip and let's just take a look at a few. So let's go ahead and backtrack. Again, I love watching footage of myself because I'll always see little things. I'm like, oh, you didn't do a very good job of that, David. So there's a ton of things that you'll constantly be able to see. The number one thing I want to emphasize is, let's just call it neutral spine. I'm not lifting this with my arms, and I'm not lifting this bell with my back. My back's job is just to hold a straight line. So even when I hike the bell, you can see that I'm not getting quasi-moted. My back is not hunching. So I'm going to hike the bell. Again, I'll have a whole video on the hike because that is actually one of the biggest things that people kind of goof up on. From this position here, I'm in the downward portion of a swing. In fact, if you look at me, if my arms are down here, it looks like I could be in almost a deadlift position. That's because it is. I'm in a hip hinge. From here, I'm going to, we'll say, exert force to the ground. Just like I'm about to jump, I push down, I snap my hips, my knees, boom! And from here, the bell floats. This is not me lifting up the bell with my arms. I'm not that strong. That's a really heavy bell, and if I try to lift that with just my, we'll say my deltoids, I'll probably be in physical therapy for the next 6 months. The bell floats. Your arms do not have to be straight. It might have a slight bend in it. I actually prefer to have mine a little bit straighter than they are. I'm working on that, but I'm staying within standard. Once the bell floats up to the top, I'm going to wait for it to fall, and then at the very bottom, I catch it. I drive my hips backwards and I repeat the process. So it's cyclical. What I'm not doing here is I'm not just relying on gravity to just, hopefully maybe the bell will just land here. I have to actively push it there. So as the bell falls, it wants to pull my shoulder blades forward, right? So I have to make sure that I'm just keeping my shoulder girdle set and packed. My lats are in full activation. This is going to keep me from getting cranked forward. So as the bell goes, and notice you can see my chest from the side the entire time. I call this proud chest. From this position here, you can see that I'm beginning a hip hinge. The bell still wants to fall to the floor, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to push as hard as I can backwards. Boom. So this here is an active push with my, let's just say my hips. If I do not do this, my shoulders will round. What's going to happen on the way up is my back's going to do this. I'm going to have to undo that. And I start swooping. The knees kind of start popping forward. My lower back starts trying to dominate the movement, and I lose the swing. Let's take a look at a few more of these. Again, bell floats. So notice when I'm waiting for the bell, I want that bell, at least the bell handle, to be high up in the thigh. So guys, high up, think just right before you castrate yourself is when you're going to begin your hip hinge. Any later, you'll notice that the bell will go from here to here to here to here. If we know the torque equation, I'm just overloading my fulcrum. It's just bad news. Let's take a look at it from the front. Really quick, I'm in a wide stance. That's just because the day I filmed this, my hips were feeling a little bit tight. This is not wrong. I actually prefer a slightly narrower stance. Just make sure that let's just say that your kneecaps are aiming out with your toes. Okay, we want to maintain that alignment. If you do that, then I'm actually okay with a slightly wider stance. We can get into stance length later. And again, all I'm doing is I'm pushing force through the floor. My hips snap into full extension, and the bell is floating from here to here. It's only when the bell gets to, we'll say, we'll say castration level, when I forcefully drive my hips backwards. You can see that my chest is open. I'm squeezing my shoulder blades down and back, and I'm keeping a nice calm face. If I see people lifting this with their neck, sort of neck lifters, that's not going to do you any good. In fact, you'll probably notice that your whole body reacts to that. So if you're facing a mirror, which some people, if that helps some people, other people it can be a distraction. But if you are facing a mirror and you notice that you can see the veins, bursting out of your forehead and neck, calm down. You just set the bell down, relax, reset, and try again. As far as where to feel this. It's a pretty explosive movement. I really would stress this. I don't want to see people saying, yeah, first day of swings, I decided to grab a 24 kilo bell and I went for 30 in a row. Grab a bell that you can move and maybe go for sets of 5 to 10. This is not a movement that you want to learn on the fly. I learned this through Andrea Chang, who's a senior SFG, top of the line kettlebell coach, and I'm still making sure that I'm perfecting mine. So I wouldn't recommend learning this movement off of YouTube. I would recommend learning it from a coach and then perfecting it, and you can use this as a resource. But I'll come out with a little bit more in-depth content on the swing pretty soon. This is a very, very surface level look at the movement. Again, I'll run this clip one more time through. Hope it helps, and if you have any questions, let me know. But we'll be breaking down each step a little bit more specifically soon. Okay.